Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is actually going to be setting up a new bullet journal. I'm moving over from this old one here that's only got a few pages left, as you can see, and I'm going to be moving into a new one. So I guess it's kind of like a migration, but also kind of a, I don't know, showing you how I would set up a new journal. So this is the new one now that I've got. This one I got from Hobby Lobby, and it's one of the Paper Studio ones. They've had a couple different designs as well as this one. And just a quick little comparison, this first one that I had was a Limon journal. So you can kind of see the size difference a little bit here. It's the same width, but the height is actually a little bit shorter on the new Paper Studio one. So that's the only difference, probably like a, I don't know, like 1 dot grid space difference. So not too bad. The width of the journal I would say is about the same in terms of like the number of pages. The old one looks a little bit thicker because I do have some, things glued into it. The biggest difference I would say between the two is this one, the Paper Studio one, is actually white paper. They're both dot grids, but this one is a white paper instead of an off-white like the Limon, and also I believe the Leuchtturm ones, I believe that's how you say it, those are kind of an off-white as well. So that's kind of nice for using whiteout. And then I actually already did a little pen test at the back of the journal, just to kind of see the bleed through and how thick the pages are, and I'm actually extremely surprised and impressed because as you can see there's literally no bleed through with any of these pens, and one of them is actually even a permanent marker, and then there's also a Sharpie pen that I used as well, and Sharpie pens do not work in Moleskines or Leuchtturms so I would say it's comparable to this Limon journal. So just for reference, I'll show you how I set up the first few pages of my last bullet journal. You can see that I did just a very simple cover page with the year on there, and then I did a future log, of course, as the next page. This is very important for setting up like a new bullet journal for the year. That way you can write important dates and have those logged in. And then I also did a yearly goals page, and then I also have a word of the year page. And I think this is super awesome thing to do. I'll talk about it more when I set up the page in the new journal, but I'm going to do this again for 2019. And then what I actually did in this journal was kind of try to split it up into quarters. So I did do like a first quarter and then, first quarter goals, just to kind of break up the year. I haven't decided quite yet if I want to do that in this new journal. I know I'm starting in November and December of 2018 before getting into 2019. So I think I'll try to decide between then and the new year if I want to break it up that way. For this cover page, I'm doing another little simple drawing, and I put the first month and the year that this journal will start, and I just left a blank space so that I can put in the month for when I finish the journal. I always skip like that very first little leaf page that's like kind of attached, just because it's I don't know, it doesn't really seem like a actual page. It's just since it's all connected, so I always move on to like the very first page that is not attached like that. For cover pages, I like to just kind of keep it simple. I always look at Pinterest to kind of get some ideas, especially if I want to do like little plant drawings or whatever I'm into at the moment. So that is a good tip for you if you are lost for what to do in your bullet journal, to get some ideas looking there. And then what I'm also going to do is include just one color in with all of like this beginning setup, and I decided to go with a dark navy blue, and this is also a Crayola SuperTips marker, and just because I thought it would match with the cover as well. The cover is also navy blue and it has a rose gold lettering on the front. So then once I do that, I'm going to move on to the future log. I'll go ahead and link in the description kind of like a more thorough and in-depth of what the bullet journal system is. So if you're not too familiar with what that is and how that works, you can always watch that video. I would say I don't use it the way that they do, or the way that it's, I guess, technically supposed to be, but I think that's also part of the beauty of bullet journaling, is that you can really make it your own. You can decorate as little or as much as you want, but you can definitely take a look at that video just to get a gist and idea of why the things are set up the way they are, so why there's even a future log. The reason that this is an awesome tool is because you are really only setting up like a month at a time, and then a week at a time, or a day at a time. And so this is good to have for future events that you don't have, you know, planned out already. So you can just come in here and write in little important dates. And then whenever you get to planning that month, you can come back here and find those dates and add it into that month's setup. So it's really handy. As you would have seen in my last journal, I kind of crammed the entire year onto a full 2-page spread. And I mean, it worked. I didn't love how it looked so crammed together. And so I just decided, why not just take a couple more pages to spread it out and make it look really nice. And of course, I'm keeping it as simple as possible, just with the dates or the months across the top, and then doing like a little mini calendar right underneath it. And I actually decided to do a full year, even though I know that I'm probably not even going to make it to the end of the year in this journal for 2019. But I did include the 2 months that I'm still finishing in 2018, and then just went another year, the whole year of 2019. And then I set up each of those future log pages the same way. If you saw my November plan with me, I'm using the same kind of technique for these little leaves that I was drawing. So you can kind of see a little bit more of a slowed down version of that in the beginning of that video. Basically just drawing little lines and filling in random ones here and there. And so those lines at the bottom of each month is where I'm going to be writing down those important dates. So there you'll see I did the full year all the way up to December 2019, just so I have that. And then just as an example, if you weren't sure how to use a future log, here's how I would use it. I'm just using like a lighter color to kind of highlight the date, and then writing it down below. So writing the day and then what it is that is on that day. And then on next page is where I'm going to do my word for the year. I think it's such a great practice to have, to be much more mindful and purposeful in each year. Instead of just letting it pass by, you're really setting the tone at the beginning of the year. And so what I like to do is, towards the end of the year, really thinking about and praying through what it is that I feel this next year is going to hold for me, and what kind of things am I really learning or improving or growing in. And a lot of times this word just like comes to me. So for instance, last year my word was now, and I really felt like it was a year that I was gonna just jump in and do it now and not put it off. And that's multiple areas in my life. So having that word at the beginning of my journal, decorated, having written down little definitions or quotes, it's just a great reminder to come back to and inspire you every time you see it. I already have a thought about what my word is going to be for next year. Maybe I'll make a separate video about that, about my process and the word that is for next year for me. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd be interested in, or if this is something that you already do. And then the next 2 pages are going to be where I'm going to do reflection on the past year, 2018, and then a page for my goals for 2019. And with that, that's really it. I don't do very much of a beginning setup. I don't have like collections or anything. If you know much about the bullet journal system, a lot of times people will have collections or these kind of like ongoing lists of things that they either love or want to remember. That may be something that happens in the future, but for now, that's not really anything that I migrate over into a new journal. But those are definitely some important things that I like to include for each year. And even if I don't get through a full year in this journal, it's always cool to have all of these things in the beginning of the journal. yeah, thank you so much for watching. Definitely give me a thumbs up if you liked this or if you're inspired to make your own bullet journal and set one up for yourself. Also, side note, thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. That is seriously amazing, and I cannot believe that that's a thing. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!